Well, it is so good to see you ladies here. Can you believe it's only been a few days since we saw one another? Oh my gosh, what a good time we had in Santa Barbara, and I really appreciate you all jumping on here. Um, just to do a proper introduction for Helle and Trey. Helle Sparre is the lady I kept referring to as the master teacher. I mean, she truly is. She's the one who created Dynamite doubles. And I kept saying to her, Hella, this is your legacy. I mean, you have to be able to teach some other people to coach it because you can't be everywhere all the time. And she's done an amazing job of getting many of us trained as coaches. Kay's on here, Angela's, we were saying, oh, Angela's on there. So we really appreciate, and you know what? Like any good team, she couldn't have done it by herself. Trey, her business partner there, he makes sure all the technology is in place and does the video, and not just that. I mean, he's a partner in many more ways than that. He's a very astute guy about pickleball, and we're letting him hang out with us tonight, right, Trey?
That's right.
Oh me. Anyway, Hella, very quickly, of course, we've got Kay and Angela on here who have been certified in Dynamite doubles. They came to Bellingham last year. And then we've got Maggie and all her friends hanging out, there with Kiwi and Palm Springs now, coming from the Bay Area. And we've got Millie. Millie hangs out in Santa Barbara right now, but then she'll go to Rhode Island this summer. And then Eileen, there you go. She is she lives in Santa Barbara right now, and then she'll go to Vermont. And we're going to do a Pickleball Escapades event there in Vermont. And we've got Luann, and Luann's from the Bay Area. And we've got Karen. Hey, Karen. And we've got Kathy. So a lot of these ladies came from the Bay Area, and we're really excited to have them. But Hella, what I think we did different is we combined not only skills, drills, and techniques, and Tracy Wilcox and Blake together, they did a fabulous job. And then we brought in Dynamite doubles to have a strategy and a plan for partner communication. And then we added in on the third leg of this was the mental game. I've been coaching, I call it the mental edge, the X factor, and the X factor is positive intelligence. But we believe that we're the only retreat or clinic that has really brought those three components together. And it was, everybody seemed to really enjoy it and get a lot out of it. But we want to right now go to you and let you sort of hammer home the why of blocker, workhorse, and Dynamite doubles. So take it away, Hella.
Thanks, Dotti. Yeah. Hi, everyone. Thanks for showing up. And yeah, I mean, the system came about from when I played tennis. I was fairly successful in doubles in particular. And it just kind of developed just by trial and error and partnerships, success. And then when I started teaching it, I was like, what's going on here? How come when I'm moving, they're standing still, and when I'm standing still, they're moving? I'm talking about my partner. I was like, there's something wrong with this dance, and we need to be timing it a little bit better. So that's how Dynamite doubles really came about, in that we had to be in sync together, and we had to form a partnership and communicate together without talking, just by knowing and by dancing. And the movement is so amazing on that, and the intent on what the next shot is going to be. So I was able to take that into pickleball when I started that in like 2015 or 16 is when I moved to Arizona and really got into it. I moved from the Bay Area, and now I'm coming back here to the Bay Area. And I have been developing this system because I play it, and there was no strategy in pickleball when we first started other than forehand takes the middle and serving team rush to the line. That was my instruction. Those were my two instructions. When I played with a 5-0 player at the time, he's in our course, so he always laughs when I tell this story. So he's lefty, and he's in the right side. He's a male, and he's serving. So I'm thinking he's going to serve cross court. they're going to return, and I'm going to move in to be the blocker. And then he's going to set me up with his big forehand in the middle because he's a lefty, and I'm going to be up being the blocker. So I'm just assuming that. Then he's just before he serves, he says, "You come over and take all forehands down the middle." And I was like, "What? How can you say that?" Because to me, there was like a tilt. All of a sudden, my whole plan was like gone. And then it's like, what do I do then? So that got me thinking of I need to bring this tennis strategy with angles and roles and responsibilities to pickleball. And that's kind of how it developed. And it's still a moving system, but we have the blueprint, and we're building on that as the game changes. The system doesn't change. But a lot of people's comments have been, "Helle, they all tell us to hit it there, there, and there, but you tell us why." And it's kind of like a light bulb goes up because, oh, now we see why. So because of angles, there are angles in the game, right? If you serve cross court, that's could be an angled ball. It could also be right down the middle, but for the most part, that's a diagonal ball. Well, that could get a sharp angle back, or it could be straightened out and be hit straight. Because of that because of that angle, the person who is diagonal from the ball has more responsibility than the one straight ahead. Very simple. So we can't go by the 50-50 on my forehand. We have to go by, where's the ball coming from? We're hitting it cross court on our serve. Now we need to defend. And this is Dynamite doubles is, how do we defend the court where we can cover 100% and get it back in play and stay in the point? That's kind of the crux of it. It's not about let's hit a winner down the middle and solve the riddle and go hooray. It's about how can we defend so we can stay in the point and live for another shot. Well, that gets us a lot farther in the tournament than the occasional winners. I don't know if you agree with that, but that seems to be the way, especially when you're serving. We are on defense unless the return is really weak. But I assume, if you knew when Lindsay Newman played, she had this meek little serve because she right away loved to be put on defense. And her third shot and fifth shot and seventh shot was fantastic because she had a really good reset. She wasn't really overpowering it. So she wanted to be on defense. Thus, she didn't put too much on the serve. And that's how the game was for many years. Now, of course, the serve has become a weapon. And sometimes, like when I'm serving, I'm now what we call the workhorse. Why? Because I'm hitting cross court. If I could hit it straight, I would become the blocker. So where I hit the ball determines what responsibility I have of defending the next shot. That's big to know that. So as I serve it cross court, and if I have a really good serve, it could be a mishit on the return, like a really short ball. That's my partners. That's my runner. Because I'm back defending angles and deep and the majority of the court. She has to cover the short part of the court. So I go, "Are you ready to run?" And they go, "No way." Then I ease up on my serve because now they're hitting a better return and she doesn't have to run. But if she says, "You betcha, I'm ready," then I can maybe nail that serve, get a miss hit, and she runs up and then puts the third shot away for a winner. And now we're up 1-0. So that could be an offensive way the serving team could take advantage of that, because we don't need to drop a third shot if we have gotten a pop-up as a return of serve. But the game typically is not won like that. The game is won by the ball is in play with a serve, they return, and then what? If you don't have a plan for the third shot, and you're going to try and advance up to the kitchen line, it's going to be difficult. You might say what the plan is. Well, that's what we're finding out. That's what Dotti has probably been teaching you. But it's really important that we don't both rush up to the net simultaneously, side by side, because the workhorse, if they're slightly behind the blocker, they can pick up the middle ball with a little more time and the angle. So as a workhorse, I need to buy a little more time for myself to defend the possibilities that could come. So the other reason I kind of drop it cross court if it comes to me is so my partner can move in. And if I've hit a pretty good drop, low over the net, and they have to hit it from below the net, they might pop it up and hit middle because they want to hit it back to my backhand. And my partner can come across and poach it. But if she was back with me on the baseline, we wouldn't have a poacher. So we have a lead player and we have a player slightly behind. Not very far, but definitely a little staggered. And that is determined because by the fact that I served it cross court. Now, if on the other side, from the left side, I serve it cross court, same thing. But when it comes from the middle and we don't know who's going to take it, that's harder to defend against. Yeah, they may, if you hit a middle and they don't get it, yeah, we hit a winning shot because they were confused. That's why a lot of pros teach hit down the middle, because nobody has a system for the middle ball. We do, but we don't hit the middle. We hit to player A or we hit to player B, to their feet, hopefully. So as soon as I hit a return, let's say I wasn't serving, but I'm returning, and I return straight ahead. Let's call that player B. Now my partner knows what they have become, the workhorse, because they're diagonal from where I hit it. What do I know I am? I'm the blocker because I hit it straight. So the sooner I can specifically hit it to a player, we as a team have a higher percentage chance of defending the next shot. And that's my biggest concern, is that they don't have a winning shot down the middle where there was a hole. And then we look at each other and we say, that was yours. No, that was yours. And we're pointing fingers, and teams fall apart when we start pointing fingers, as you know. So the specifically hitting to a person gives us a way of knowing what our territory to defend is. And that's huge, to just trusting each other with that. And we don't even have to say it. We see where the ball went. Now we know what's our responsibility. And it makes all the difference in the world. It's like, phew, now I know. Then when we get it back, hopefully, if we were staggered, we would hit it back, in the same direction. So we wouldn't have to switch positions. Because another thing I wanted to just mention is that most people get in trouble by changing direction when it's not necessary. There are times to change direction and there are times not to. And people just do it because they got fire in their pants and they say, oh, let's change direction. And then they don't realize what chaos that created for the team, for their own team. So I would say when I play with somebody I don't know, I follow their lead, because they often have no idea what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. But if they change direction, I'm going, okay, now we're playing player B, and it comes to me. I don't go back from where it came originally, which was A. I stay with the change my partner did. And now for 1 second, we became a team. Then she gets it again, my partner. Now she changes direction. I go, okay. And then sometimes I just pray for 3 shots in a row to the same player so we can have some harmony and some teamwork. There's a lot of change of direction, especially when we're all dinking. But from the server's point of view, when you're working your way up to the kitchen, not so much. Try to check your own way of playing. If you change direction from your partner's shot as you are the serving team, you're leaving holes that are undefendable. And that to me is a shame.
Yeah, Helle, one of the things we talked about was from the baseline into the non-volley zone, not to change direction. Once we get up to the non-volley zone line, obviously we're dinking, we're resetting in front of us, we're going outside to outside, inside to inside, and we would just go over and over these things. And even with the return of serve down the line, doing exactly what you said, we would talk about, okay, we're trying to create this angle of a 2-on-1. That's exactly what we're trying to do, so that my partner can step over and poach it. If they get a drop shot way over there, we'll clap for them, but we'd rather, cover it so that we've got that 2-on-1. And that's why I'm returning the serve down the line or to the middle. But, we're not trying to
So
hit
the
middle,
other
like you
thing to
say.
make it really easy, because this is very confusing. It seems really simple. It's simple in my head, but nobody lives in there. Not too many people anyway. And you should be happy about that. But that's what I live and see and breathe, right? But it takes a little while for change of patterns, change of, as Dotti will know. I mean, it takes a lot of patience and a lot of perseverance. But when we do it, we'll see that a point is one relatively with no effort, where you go, wow, that's really amazing. And then when you lose it, a lot of times it's because there was confusion, too much change of direction, too many balls popped up, too many lobs that shouldn't have been lobs, things like that. But in short, when we're serving, if you say to your partner, soft cross court, power straight, that would be a huge change in the way your point is developed. So if I'm serving and it comes to me, back to me, and I want to hit it hard, I don't hit it hard back at the person who just was coming in, because it's cross court. I'm going to try and go hard right at the person in front of me down the line, not in the middle, but pretty much on her outside, and catch her, because guess what? She's pinching in the middle, trying to cut it off. So it's often wide open down the line. So, but servers should mostly go soft cross court, because it's a real gift to get a cross court return. And it's fairly easy to drop a cross court ball. Why? Because it's over the lower part of the net, and there's a longer distance, so your accuracy can go way up. Dropping it straight ahead is very difficult over the higher part of the net, and the kitchen area is very short because of the right angle. The cross court, you're working with a slanted angle where that drop can get quite good when you hit it really wide, whether it's to their forehand or backhand. So in short, no matter where they return, until we get more nuanced, if it's just a one-time practice, I would say try to hit the third shot cross court soft and hard, more down the middle or straight, from if they're returning straight to you. It varies. We've kind of nuanced it in our Dynamite doubles as we go along, but that's a really good advice to try and tell your partner you've never played with before. Because as they hit cross court hard and you're getting bombarded, you might go, you know what? I love that shot of yours. It's really good. Like, give her a little cookie and then say, and if you could hit it in front of yourself, I would be more prepared for the ball coming to me cross court. I would have more time to react to your hard shot. They have less time, because when you're hitting power straight, that person has less time to react than the diagonal player. Are you agreeing with me on that? So if you can go power straight, you're giving your partner the little extra time to, whoa. And so when I look at my partner, and when I see her winding up and I think, oh, she's going to go hard now, I stop my advancement, because now I'm becoming the workhorse as long as she hits that power straight.
Hey, Helle, let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Sometimes, obviously, at the pro level, we see Anna Lee go hard cross court. And what I explained to him when we were working on this, I said, sure, that's like a play inside of a system, though. The partner knows she's going to do it. She's saying, hey, I'm up for this, get ready. But not everybody has her skill, her agility, her speed. And so that's why the power ahead, and
she can go cross court, and it typically will go back to the girl in mixed doubles, for example, or even in women's doubles. She doesn't go soft cross court hard. She goes hard. She just goes hard. So obviously she can't just do one shot. If you have hard on all your third shots, you can go straight, middle, and cross court just to mess it up, mix it up for them, so you're not predictable. Of course. I'm giving you the highest percentage. So if you are going to drop it or drive some, try to make it not in the same direction as your first priority. As you get better, then you can deviate from this. And then when it doesn't work, you go, okay, I guess we'll go back to the drawing board. But if I know this is partnership. If I know that Dottie's getting the ball and she's going to try and drop it in front of me by hitting cross court. And so I can be ready for the pop-up that comes from them and put it away as they're ready to go back to Dotti, who's the deepest player maybe. We have a little bit of some teamwork. But if she goes hard cross court and soft straight ahead, it leaves me in a very weird position. So you could also do the opposite. You can go hard cross court and soft straight. I played with somebody yesterday, was kind of what she did. It took me a little while to go, oh my God, this is completely opposite. She hit a drop straight and then she bulldozed forward and punched the next ball for a winner. Well, it's hard to argue with. But as she did that, I'm saying, okay, now if they lob her as they see her coming in, that's mine. So I saw what she was doing. I'm not going to tell her to change because she doesn't even know what she's doing, but at least this is what she's doing. I need to make that a pattern and make it work. So I knew when she dropped it straight, she's making me the workhorse now, and she's going to come in and cut me off and take the next. So I made that happen. But we stayed true to the roles. It wasn't that, oh, I'm up there, I'm going to take her ball now. No, I allowed her to do that because I want to follow a pattern. And that was just what she did. And you watch your partner and you follow suit. But if they constantly do different things on different balls and hard and soft, it is really confusing. And I would just suggest that you get a pattern like this. Like I played 6 games yesterday. I stuck with this pattern, soft cross court, hard straight ahead or middle when I was serving. And they don't know that that's what I'm doing because it's varied. There seems to be no pattern because on one time I'm on the left side doing it. Oh, now she dropped it over there. So she does go there. They didn't realize it was only cross court. But so there's a higher chance of making your third shot drop cross court or over the middle than there is straight ahead.
Hey, Helle, let me stop for a second and see if anybody has any questions as you're going through this. Sometimes they think of something and then, they might not have it on the tip of their tongue later. Anybody? Go back to gallery view for a second so I can see. Unmute yourself if you have one.
Does it make sense? Are you following what we're talking about? And while you're raising your hands, this is like a chess game. When people play chess, and they're real good ones, they make the first moves really fast, and they don't get themselves checkmate, right? They make this move, then the other makes this move, and it's just by rote. That's what our first 4 shots should be in pickleball. We should not miss a serve. We should not miss a return. We should not miss a third shot, and we should know where it's going. And we should not miss a 4th shot. We should know what is supposed to do with that. That's my perfect 4, and I'm sure Dotti has talked about that. If not, that will be to come. But that is so important that you get that down like a good chess player, and then build it from there. Now, sometimes a point is 8, 10 shots. Now, all of a sudden, I maybe drop it straight for no apparent reason because it has already developed. The point had actually started. But inexperienced players, they do it way too soon, and they create chaos for themselves. Dynamite doubles is about asking your partner, how did you feel right now had that ball come over? Like we won the point, let's say, but the ball they hit into the net. You know that feeling? You've won a point, but it came in, and then you go, oh God, I'm so glad because we were cooked. We would have lost. But if I ask my partner and I say, while this was happening, how did you feel right there? Had that come over? Oh, I was ready. I was sitting with that backhand right there. I knew that would have been mine. Then it's like we did something good. So that's a very good question to ask your partner after a point, especially after you have won it. Because most people are just happy they won it and they never visit it again. But if you get the answer that I was so confused, I had no idea if that came over, whose that was, and I wouldn't have had it, and blah, 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 then there's chaos, and we need to maybe go have coffee and talk about this, so we can win a point, and it's like clockwork, and it becomes easier and easier because opponents have no plan, and we do, and they self-destruct. They simply don't know what to do, because whatever we do, we have 100% coverage behind it, you know, if we execute the way we want to. I mean, so now my mistakes are not strategic mistakes, they are execution. So if I miss a certain shot, I go out and I hit 200 of them the next day, and then that's fixed. That's the easiest fix of all shots, are your technique shots. Just get a backhand if you don't have one, get a drop if you don't have one. I mean, that's easy, but it's the thinking, the chess game that makes Dynamite doubles just so incredibly fun, no matter what level you play against, because you can make, on a weaker level, you can perfect your perfect four, and you can really be strategically so savvy that you go, I played a whole game and never deviated. We only won 11-7, but it was really important to me that I stayed with that, rather than we could have won 11-2 and we would have learned nothing. So that to me is a big part in growing and learning all the time while we're out there.
Hey, Helle, what I always like about the Dynamite double system is I feel like we can construct a point. And that's really different than just going out there and play, hoping it goes somewhere, not knowing, you know, where
Right.
either partner might be hitting. And so we did cover the perfect four, and, you know, the importance of the return of serve being the approach shot, not a drive, because we can't end up standing on the non-volley zone line, and that's where we're going to be by the time the ball hits on the other side, and just the impact of each of those first four shots. Of course, we know that, you know, we go to the third shot drive when the ball is a ball that's lost energy and you got to drive it, but not when it's a ball that we're absorbing and putting
Right.
back. But, you know, the importance of that reset going in. I ask people, I say, you know, everybody warms up dinking, and then nobody dinks until the next time they warm up for a game. I mean, it's like, okay, how are we going to get up there and really get into the nuances of the game past those first four shots? And I think you really have a system that people can learn and get there. Doesn't
If you
happen
watch the
overnight.
pros, they start dinking too, and that's just for control. Then they go back 3 steps and they go from transition zone. And at that point, when I'm off the kitchen line and somebody, my partner, is still up at the no volley zone line, they're going to be now attacking me because of the distance in positioning. So when I'm in transition, I need to practice my resets or my counter attacks, depending on what the person gives me. And then I would go back to the baseline, and then I would work my way forward. Once I'm back at the baseline, then I would hit a drive, stay put, hit a drop, come in a little bit, and work on that. And you would go back and forth, both straight ahead and cross court to practice that. That would be the pros warm up. But people don't do that. They do dinking, and then they say, let me hit a couple of thirds. They don't necessarily come in after them. They just hit some thirds. They don't hit any fifths or sevenths. And no wonder when it's time to serve that they don't have that meat, the middle of the game as a server, the fifth and the seventh shot down, because they're caught in transition, and then they just decide to run through it so they don't get caught, and that's worse, you know. So I think when I first started, I lived for about 6 months in the transition zone. I just put myself there in any warm up, and I asked people, just go ahead, bang away at me. Don't be nice from there, because then it's too easy. And that's what people do. They hit a nice shot, and it's like, well, now I don't have to drop it. I'm going to take you out with a passing shot on that. But try to attack me to my body, to my feet, so I get to learn this reset. And I remember just spending, good 6 months on really practicing that when I wasn't playing games. And then when I started playing games, I was comfortable there. I was like, oh, this is cool. I have lots of time, because I had to live in that danger or trouble situation for a while till I started to love it. So there's no bad spots on the court at all.
Anybody have some questions yet? I know it's getting used to the terminology and working with your partner and still trying to get it into our heads about how you do this. But hey, Trey, I know you also got in the back office there, like Hella has a course which is really interesting, where you can go in there and you can watch these specific things. You might want to just show them where that happens, and so that they can kind of get a feel for it. Because I know right now,
It's my block.
having a visual. Oh, there you go, Hella. Having a visual is so important. Can you screen share, uh,
Yeah, yeah,
Trey?
yeah,
I just
absolutely. Yeah, happy to do it. Yeah, let me just share my screen here, and then we can
because that's what I
take a
find so
look.
useful is going
Yeah.
in and watching a video over and over again on different things. Um,
Yeah, that's the nice thing about it is being able to go and watch and rewatch, and in addition to that, you can see it. Hella showing it on the court, but also too there are diagrams that you can have, as reminders of it, and some cheat sheets that you can go back and look at and see, what should I do and why, and test your knowledge about the different things. So as Dottie was talking about, we have a few different areas of it as well. This is the one that's the Dynamite doubles we're talking about here. And within the course, when you go into it, we've got all the different lessons set up, and you can, track your progress through it as you're going through each one. And these are built in an order that they build on one another, right? So it makes sense in terms of, understanding the concepts of things like blocker workhorse that we're going through, because that's so critical in, being successful in the system. But then beyond that, you want to know about where to be on the court and some of those behaviors and what your goals are as we start talking about the different zones of the court and movement. And then, even more advanced strategies like stacking and switching and going back for lobs and some of those things. So each of these build on the other so that, again, you're working in concert, with the team. So for example, here, if I go into this lesson, and you'll see that with each of these, we've got a video that goes with it. You've got some key points that you want to remember, why this particular one is important. If you want to actually like download and just view the transcript, if you're away and want to print it out and have it with you to take a look at, you can. Or even, check out things like diagram of the court zones, you can do that. But the videos here, you can watch them. There's closed captioning on it. There's a transcript that's built into it, so you can watch it that way as well. You can full screen it. You can change the speed that you watch it if you want to slow it down or speed it up, for example, with it. But all the lessons will be set up like this. So again, you can go back and watch and rewatch on your iPad, on your phone, on your desktop, laptop, whatever the case may be. And one of the cool things when we filmed this was this ability to be able to show things on the court and then be able to like overlay things. So when Hella's talking about, for example, within the kitchen and, talking about the different areas of the kitchen, we're able to overlay that so we can see exactly what we're talking about. Or as we're walking through the different zones, being able to highlight those and show, here's what we mean by attack zone. Here's what we mean by transition zone or defense zone, whatever the case may be with that. So you can kind of see the little smaller one here. If I, zoom in, back in the back, it actually, makes the court blue and yellow and green as we're walking through it. So each one of them will have different areas for it. Again, here's another one that we can take a look at. This is one on the dreaded lob and how it works. Again, key points that you'll want to take away, why it's important. And then within each of them, as I mentioned, you'll have quizzes as well so that you can test your knowledge to see, okay, did I understand this? Do I need to go back and revisit this particular area as well? View the transcripts, all of those things here with it. But yeah, and then you can track your progress as you're going through it. As well, forum for questions so we can ask each other and ask Hella questions as you're going through it as well.
Yeah, Trey, when we were talking about things, I said, so many of us started in what I call the asleep phase. And then we didn't know. And then when we woke up, we realized, wow, I don't really have a strategy. Now what? And so I introduced, Dynamite doubles as a strategy, as a game plan. And now it takes thinking a lot. And that's how it is in the beginning until finally it just becomes without thought in that fourth quadrant of the flow and so forth. So it's really helpful to me being able to go back time and time again and cover everything, because there are so many layers to a system. Just like those of you who are still work or in corporate, you know how important a system is. You don't have a system, you don't get very far. And so that's why I've liked Dynamite Doubles, is because of that and what it offers in a way to communicate with a partner. But I want Helle to, really go over again about the question, what do I do when the person does not know Dynamite Doubles? I keep saying to them, well, the great thing is you know something about it. And I think sometimes people are unsure how to proceed playing with somebody, but I think Helle gave some good examples of how she adapted. But I don't want people to feel like, oh my gosh, this other person doesn't know Dynamite Doubles. You may feel like, well, I don't know everything about it. And of course you don't, because you've just been introduced to it. But the fact that you know something is far more than most of the people out there. I just want to assure you that's what's so great about it.
Exactly. I mean, it's better to go to war with somebody who knows something than a bunch of fools, right? So you have to stay true to what you know and don't add to the confusion. So I try to follow my partner's lead, at least for my perfect four. So if my partner returns, I'm up at the line, my partner returns down the line. That's now diagonal from me. The shot I get now is going to go diagonal back to the same person my partner returned to. And she might say, why'd you hit it there? I said, well, I'm following your lead. Why did you return to player B? I thought you were trying to set up a point. And it goes back to Dotti saying, we're building a point. We're not just going for, we're trying to have each shot build on the next. So as a returner, I try to keep them back. And because as a returner, we are in offense, like I said before. And that ball, the fourth shot, is one thing we say hits the ground. Do not hit their bodies. That hits the ground. So when my partner has hit it down the line and they hit to me cross court now, that person who's hitting cross court cannot make it up, no matter how good of a drop, where I can't hit it in front of their feet. So wherever they are, whatever shot they gave me, I'm going back to that person. First of all, I'm not changing direction, so the odds go way up for me making it. I am now the workhorse, and unless it's, even if it's a big sitter, I still hit it back to that person. So we as a team have hit our first two shots to the same person. That's building partnerships. Now, on my third shot, if they hit it back to me one more time, and this time it's a little bit higher where I can sit up and have a high volley, then I say, thank you very much. I've done my job. Now I hit power straight ahead, and I hit the person in front of me's feet. I don't hit their body. I don't hit it deep. I hit it down and hard. If it's not high, I go back cross court again, and until they will earn the dinking game. And if they hit it straight and not want to go to me, there's a good chance they pop it up, because straight ahead is so much shorter distance than the cross court. So if my partner is ready to even go around and do an Ernie, they will volley that ball, and they will volley it right back in front of themselves, because power goes straight, not cross court. We're winning a point just based on me following the partner's lead. So I stay true to it. When I'm serving, I drop it soft cross court, hard straight ahead. When my partner's serving, I go soft cross court, hard down, hard straight ahead. So I show by example. I don't use my words. I don't tell them what to do. I do it. And it is incredible how it works. See, I'm the only one with a strategy, so I get to feed off everybody else's chaos. So when I have the ball, there's a moment of togetherness, like a moment of no frantic panic. And that gives my team a little bit of an edge over the other team that's still panicky. So there are three panic players and me, or you, whoever you are now, you know a little bit more. Try to be the one that controls the situation and gets one shot into that chaotic panic, chaos way of playing. If it's coming to me and I'm in trouble, I go soft cross court because I have more room. I have a better chance of making that. And I don't go middle, because middle is just a temporary moment of we don't know, but now we don't have our defense. So my drops are, when in trouble, are to the outsides of people, and Dotti has mentioned that, so you're familiar with that. We call them triangles, but out to the outsides, so me and my partner can live for one more shot. We don't win every point, but we certainly have hope and believe that every point could be gotten to. And that's huge for the mental health, that you don't have this give up. I mean, I can't tell you how many times my partner pops it up too high or right in front of me, and I just get hammered, or they go too hard right in front of me, and I'm the blocker, and then I just get hammered straight ahead. So there's nothing I can do. If they could have gotten their power and low straight ahead, and the drop cannot be sitting up too high. So we have to practice the trajectory. It's called a drop for a reason. It has already hit its apex, the highest part on our side. So the arc is such that it starts to go down. Now a blocker can sit safely, but people hit it typically too hard cross court. And it's just really hard to be a partner of that.
Helle, we talked a lot about, that soft across gives us a chance as a team to reorganize.
Yep.
Something gets chaotic, nobody can hit the ball while it's in the air. And, so that's when you're moving.
Yeah.
And so that works really great. And they learned all about, the workhorse covering the 7 squares, and the blockers got 5, and why that makes sense. And so we were able to really at least get the foundation.
You take that back to the baseline too.
Absolutely.
So the server is responsible for the big V, the 7 square area, even though we're not at the kitchen when we're serving, but we have that same idea that the bigger area to cover is when I'm serving. And when my partner is serving, then I have the little area. And it holds true all the way up through defense zone, transition zone, up to the offense zone by the kitchen. And that's an understanding and something you can really start to build on. And then it becomes clockwork, and it's just so beautiful when it works.
Well, and it cements the little V and the big V for bringing it as you go backwards. And that way it keeps you from changing direction. I mean, if you just stay with that.
Yeah.
And we built upon that little soft touch that we start with, where we are taking that ball and putting it on the front half of the net, so that touch is then developed as we move backwards, because so many people are hitting it hard. And of course, that lift shot, if you hit it too deep, they're going to cream it because it's going to sit up too high. But if you have that touch and hitting it off that front foot, a lot of people were hitting it off the opposite foot, and they learned how that totally changed the touch that they have. And I saw that Eileen, she's there. It totally changed how she was hitting those balls, and the pop-up was going away. So it was really exciting to see all of this.
And it takes practice. I mean, it all takes practice, but we have to practice with a purpose. And you need to, and when you're serving, you got to believe you're mostly on defense, and you have to have a lot more patience, because most people play the same way, offense or defense. So when I'm returning and we're all aggressive and up there, we go, this is great, let's go back serving. And then we have the same energy, and after 2 shots, it's side out. So it's you got to really say, okay, out with offense, in with defense when it's a side out. And now they're serving, okay, let's get our offense back in. And let's not reset and invite the dinking game when we are returners. But those are just really basic things that a lot of people get confused with. And then there are the returners who don't come in. And I'm like, that should not happen, but it still happens. They return and stay back. No pro does that in doubles yet. The serves have not gotten that big that they do it. In singles, as you have noticed, they do not return and come in all the time because the court is too big for that returner and they can't cover it anymore. So that's not 100% anymore. It was a few years ago, but in doubles, every returner comes forward and gets up into the offense zone at the highest levels. And we got to enforce that with our lesser level players. When you're teaching or playing with others, say, do yourself a favor, take this ball on the rise, the serve, don't wait for it and hit a big shot and then don't go anywhere, because it's too boring. Because now I come in, I do go back to them then, and I keep them back, and we win every point, and they, you know, now we're serving again. So if they don't come in, it's way too easy for the serving team. So do yourself a favor, tell them to do it, just so your game gets more interesting. I think this is a piece that somehow has gotten, in the beginning levels, people are so confused of who comes in. Servers come in, returners stay back. I do not know where they got so confused.
Well, I think, Helle, what happens lots of times is everybody works on skills and drills. And I've heard it said so many times, oh, we're not going to teach them strategy. And I go, oh, you got to teach strategy from the get-go along with the skills and drills. So I think a lot of people get really good at skills and drills and then aren't sure where to be on the court. Right. And it's like you say, the fingers go like this. You know, it should be real clear who takes the ball. And we even, you know, we had them calling out blocker workhorse just to kind of get accustomed to identifying what I am. Yeah. It's not like you're going to do that forever, but Helle has us doing that. So you'd have us calling out, you know, I'm the blocker, I'm the workhorse, until we really got some sense of stability in our partnership. So
and the biggest part of this game is when you're serving. That is the biggest challenge, and I'm sure you all know that, but that is where the work is. The return is a no-brainer. Get up there, be aggressive, hit the fourth, the sixth shot, all hits the ground aggressively, no resets. If you must dink because they earned it, you do it gladly, but don't invite the dink, and don't hit drop shots to bring them in when you can keep them back. That is teaching them the game. But there are too many people hitting a fourth shot soft off a drive. That brings the people in, and now they're completely, the roles have, offense and defense have been changed.
Hey,
so
Helle, this is Luann. Thank you so much. This is terrific. Obviously your background is tennis, and we're seeing so many more tennis folks play pickleball now. And what you're saying is resonating for sure. But what I'm thinking about are those matches where you're playing tennis players and it is bang, bang, bang. And how do you, I mean, I hear what you're saying. And at the same time, I'm thinking about how do you constantly try to ease that banging? Well, love your thoughts.
Yeah, this is a very good question, because this really is what has not been talked a lot about out there that I've heard. And when I've heard, people have been saying, try to soften it. And that is the wrong thing to do. That there was like a 6 months, 12 months time of teaching when people were teaching to absorb that hard banging shot and hit it softly so it dropped, and then they would come in, and if they banged it again, it would go out. No, that is the hardest volley of them all. So and that's not what the pros do either, because they cannot control that drop volley. The drives have become so powerful, and our volleys are not good enough. So the fourth shot is the shot that was not practiced well enough. So you need practice having people driving it at you. Okay, and you as a team, you're sitting, because it's either player A or player B that's hitting it, and you and your partner are going to sit with backhands ready to counterpunch. So I'm kind of like this, but I'm ready to go. I'm not with a backhand, but I'm sitting with my paddle. I'm right-handed, pointing out at like 11 o'clock, out like this. And then the ball comes, and then I give it. I have it so high, my paddle, that I can hit out and down. Most people have their paddle too low, and they hit topspin and it goes out. So you actually want to develop a slight undercut, if anything, but it's crisp. And you hold it steady way out in front of you. And when the ball comes, you have taken the paddle in a little bit and you counter punch it. It's like a jab. If you go to the gym, it's like a punching bag. You're doing a punching bag type thing. Boom, 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 like a jab. And if you start high enough, you will get it and it will go down. It won't go in the net because you go out, but you have to start higher than you are. It's a great question because the volleys aren't good enough. And this is where the tennis players they will say, of course we're going to drive it. These people don't know how to volley. They hit topspin on those and they go out. They cannot control it. So that's still the case, that the tennis players are succeeding on the hard third shot because the volleys are not good enough. When you play me, and I have, and some of the tennis players that have those crisp punch volleys, I don't swing, I don't do topspin. If anything, there's a slight undercut, but it's actually more just flat and out. I do not want the ball to go up. When they're coming hard, they are above the net when you hit it. So you don't need to be under it to clear the net. You can actually be level with it and punch it by short jab and not deep. This is the other thing. People said, oh, keep them back and hit it deep. No, it goes out. So this hard drive, they are in charge. You're not. You must not take pace off because you can't control it. Be there with your arm up, be ready to counter punch and get it down towards the middle of the court, not back down the line because it will go out. And I always said that in my course early on, and I think it went over people's heads. But when somebody drives it, they're hoping you miss it, you pop it up, or or you miss it in the net, or you blow it out, or it pops up for another attack. That's what a tennis player expects you to do. So hitting it deep, that's a pop-up. That's going to go out, and it doesn't hit the ground. If you can counter, okay, I don't want to miss it, so we don't miss it. We hold the paddle steady with a backhand. So you shield it. You have to move your body. So it's a chicken wing. It's backhand the whole way. But you are loaded, ready to counter it. So you have to bend your knees. As they're hitting, you bend, and you are hitting almost as they're hitting. Because you can't wait to see till they hit it. So when I'm there ready for it and they hit the net, I'm going, I'm grunting. I've already hit it because had it come over, I would have already had to exert myself. People sit back and think they can control it. So you wait and you go out, no top spin iPhone. It's more down like this. Out and down. See, if I start out and high, if you get your arms way out in front of you right now, high, and then you bend your elbow a little bit, now go forward, that goes down. It doesn't go up anymore. You can only go down because you started high. It goes down. But if you start low, it goes up and your ball goes out. So yeah, I can see we're all trying. That's awesome. So you need to get yourself out there, get your arms up on an inner tube, like up here. Say, here it comes. And then really be ready to go from high to low on it. And if you hit it in the net, that's the first start. Then do less and less till it clears the net. But clearing the net by lifting it is the wrong shot. So the volleys are wrong. And that's why tennis players continue doing it. Until we get the right volley, the tennis players are going to keep beating us.
That is so helpful because it's true. You hit it back to them and they're just again and again, these drives are coming. Yeah,
but
thank you.
You get it quickly down. It doesn't come up very high. And if they drive it again, it's probably going out by now because you didn't hit it deep. But I'm not on purpose trying to hit a drop shot. I'm counter punching it. It's a counter punch. So you have to be loaded, ready for bear. And it's like, oh my God. And I will always make a sound because I'm holding my breath and I'm like, oh my God, here it comes. but I'm ready for it and I really want it. Scott Moore, I don't know if you remember him, but he was the big senior pro when I first started. And believe me, he could hit it so hard. And I'm like, okay, Scott, come on. And I already from tennis knew that that was the right shot to hit when somebody comes hard at it. I couldn't hit a drop volley. That would be like, that would be arrogant to think that I could drop volley Scott Moore's ball. I have to respect it by getting it back, but I'm not going to keep him deep. I'm in defense. When you're in defense, you have to do the best, which is don't miss, don't pop it up, and don't spray it. So take the direction it's coming at and get it right back pretty much in the same direction without any big changes and live for another shot. That's the best way you can counter it. Great question.
Thank you, Luann. Yeah. That's awesome. And just so you'll know, I did put the link to Helle's course in there. She's offering $100 off of it right now, which is really a fabulous deal. And so much of this is covered, but I love these kind of questions. Anybody else got one that Helle can knock it out of the park with? Because Luann, as you know, the tennis is going to keep coming. It's going to keep happening. So
I wanted to do this.
You have that. Yeah.
When I was doing tennis, I wanted to do this kind of a course, but it was way before its time. There was no video. It was like, so, and then I meet Trey, who says, have you ever thought of making your course online or on a video thing? And I'm like, holy smokes. Because I had a book for tennis called Dynamite Doubles, and then he comes in and he has this great idea that we could do it digital and video, and I'm like, oh my God, this has been my dream, but it happened to be now for pickleball and not tennis, and he's done an incredible job with it. I'm so proud of how it came out. So yeah, it's definitely, and full of information. It's just loaded. So if you like this is definitely the way to go. But there's also an email you can sign up for, and I've heard that there's some great email videos coming on that, you know, just to get your feet wet. But the course is definitely a good thing. Thank you.
Yeah, Helle, I told them that when we did the Pickleball MindShift Summit during the pandemic, you were the #1 person. We had every pro in the world because, you know, what else did anybody have to do? But Helle was just the one that people went nuts over. They were just like, we've never heard this before. This is what we need. And she really is, like I said, a master teacher.
But that was how Trey and I got together, right? I mean, Trey was the first one that did a summit thing. Nobody had ever done this. And he had all the pros. We didn't know what we were doing. And we would just say, sure, I'll give. And I had my little board and I did my thing with Workhorse and Blocker. And then I didn't think more about it. It's like, okay, whatever. And I didn't know Trey at all. And then about 6 months later, I get an email where he says, it's happening now. Next week is when we're doing. And I'm like, well, what is this going to cost me now? What is this? I'm already like thinking he's coming after me for money. He says, no, the thing you did 6 months ago is now going to go live, and you might even make some money, but this is now happening. So you can send it out to your students and blah, blah, blah. And then of all the people, and he can say it himself, but he said that mine came in because I'm probably the only one that prepared, because we pros, we had no idea what this was all about. So it had some substance. And then based on that, Trey says, this is where the response is. And, you know, and then we got together and made this Dynamite Doubles online. But Trey, you can probably even say
that segment you did. Yeah. People watched it and it just like, it blew minds, right? I mean, a lot of people were talking about, you know, technique and doing things, and it was good stuff. But what was, you know, this was her segment that she did. It was like maybe 45 minutes or an hour during the summit. Like so many people said, oh my gosh, like that, like alone just changed my game so much and really improved my results. And I'm like, wow, you know, I thought that. And for everybody else, I'm like, you know, to come in and say that was remarkable. Yeah. And I said, Helle, we got to do this. Yeah.
I'm like, Trey, what's he want now? Now he's
he's always asking. Come on.
Oh, no. Well, we said that we were going to go for about an hour. I want to respect everybody's time, including Helle's, but I do want to just stop again. After you hear everything, sometimes, my wife actually said this. She said, well, you know, honey, sometimes you don't even know enough to ask a question. I said, yeah, that was kind of how I was in the beginning. And sometimes I ask so many questions. I'm really curious. And Helle would kind of shake her head and answer one more time while I ask something just for clarification. But it was fantastic. And I'd like to just, if any of you have some questions, now's your time to ask them. Nobody?
I will say that for anybody that does want to enroll in the course, again, we just kind of got like a little nugget of what she covered during this segment today, which I saw a lot of you taking notes, and that's great. Very helpful. And you guys will have the recording for this as well. When we started the course, we originally did it with like lifetime access, but we're going to stop doing that. It's not going to be lifetime access anymore going forward for people that join. There'll be like a year access, because we do group calls as well, where we update things. We add bonus content to the course. It's like an ever evolving course. It's not static. If anybody does join today, though, I'll make sure that you guys, are get the lifetime access. But starting this weekend, we're going to.
Whoa, that's a pretty good thing. I mean, you have no idea what that's like. I was curious before, like, oh my gosh, lifetime access. Yeah, thanks, Millie. Yeah, but that's pretty good. So, the link is in there in the chat, and I'll send out an email just to follow up. But I think it's a great value for what you get. And if this interests you and you go, wow, I'm just really interested going forward in pursuing this blocker
And there are
workhorse
also
Dynamite
ways
doubles.
to, coach on videos. If you have a game or something and you'd like feedback on your game, where I can point out positioning where you went wrong. I mean, that seems to be very helpful too. And that's just on a private lesson type thing. You can contact me and we can do that, and we can set things like that up. But and Trey can also set that up. But I like to work with people who are interested, and you learn a lot from seeing from your own games also because we always think we're so perfect, right? So, or is that just me? But we always think that we do the right thing, and it's the partners that really messed us up. But a lot of times, 3 shots ago, you're the one who did it, and that people are like, me? I said, yeah, 3 shots ago, when you changed direction and did this, your partner had no clue what was going on. And when she got the ball, no wonder she missed it. I would have missed it too, because all of a sudden there's no plan. It's like, and just that moment of that, I get the ball, I miss it in the net because I'm working on something, right? And I'm hoping my partner sees it, and then all of a sudden, not at all. So it's good sometimes to realize what causes the point to go awry when we were this close to maybe capitalize, right? Then we get some fancy idea, and it was like, no, patience.
Okay.
Helle, sorry.
Well, thank you, Helle.
Sorry, Luann, one more time. Sorry. So Helle, I understand your site makes great sense. Thank you for the lifetime, Trey and Helle. That's cool. In the Bay Area, because I know Dottie's way up in Washington, Kay's in Washington, different folks who teach your style of play. Are there people in the Bay Area who do that? Do you still do that?
Me.
You do.
Yeah.
So on your website, it would show if you were doing like local classes in.
No, I'll give you my number and you can just contact me, because I do it all privately. I do not.
You do.
I actually have a couple of clinics now that are open. Some people are doing it, but that I don't. I usually just do my own groups, and we just get together and we figure it out.
Okay, great. Thank you.
But yeah, no, thanks for and Dotti can send that out too, but I can.
Yeah.
I mean, you have.
Or you can put it in there now.
Yeah, I will.
Or I'll put it in the email to go out.
6992. Yeah, I have actually one in the East Bay coming up. I think it's May 3rd. And then I'm doing one in Marin on April 27th, and that filled up. I'm doing it with another girl named Krishna. And we have a lot of the same philosophy, but we're teaching that together the 27th. And that's going to, and then June 8th, there's another one in Marin. So I can send you that information. So yeah, just text me and tell me who you are, and then we can just go from there. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Sounds good. All righty. Any other questions or comments?
Thank you so much for making this this available to us. Really great. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks, Dotti.
Okay, we'll talk to y'all later.
Dottie.
Bye for now.
Thanks, Trey.
Okay.
It's good seeing you.
Bye.
Bye.